Hi Year 10, Mr. Tapley here for your next lesson of Year 10 Geography. This lesson we are looking at the CAT, your first major assessment for Year 10 Geography. Two areas of study in geography. In Term 3 we look at environmental geography, which is why your CAT is environmental change. And then Term 4 we look at human geography. So this is the summative, the major assessment for Term 3. Speaking of assessments, I thought you guys did really well on the dev task, the forest and change and management task. So you guys have set yourselves up to do even better, hopefully, in the CAT task. If you've had a read of the feedback, I thought some of the students who might not be happy with their results, it was just little things that you could have improved upon. So hopefully you'll be able to take that feedback into consideration, ask any questions you have, and you'll be able to smash out this CAT. Last chance to flex your knowledge, to demonstrate your understanding of these topics. So let's finish strong for Term 3. This information, by the by, is located in Compass. So if you'd rather do Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, use Compass. Or you can go to Google Classroom, and the 3 files I'll be going through today are located there. You just need to submit the assignment to one of the platforms. You don't need to give me 2 assignments. So you can submit it to either Google Classroom or Compass. And what I'll be going through today is the instructions. So this file here. So what is our CAT? I'll be going through the rubric. So what am I being graded on? And I'll be showing you an example of what your CAT might look like, just to give you an idea of what should my finished product look like. And the due date for the CAT, which I will go over when I go through the instructions, is the 15th of the 9th. So that's last week of the term, the Tuesday. So you've got periods 1 and 2 to work on it on that day. So you've got 4 to 6 lessons in total, I believe. Can work on it Tuesday. The end of your class on Tuesday, I'll be hitting that submit button. And anyone who has not submitted it will get a overdue notification on Chronicle, on Compass. And then you'll have probably until Friday to get in the final copy, or it'll be considered not marked, not demonstrated. Anyway, let's focus on positives. Let's read the CAT instructions. So, environmental change is the focus of this topic, and this assessment requires you to research and report on an example of environmental change and explain how these changes are being managed. So you select one of the following topics related to environmental change. So invasive species, so animals or plants that have been brought into Australia. They're not native, they're foreign, and they're messing up the environment. Air pollution, wildlife trade, so the illegal trade of wildlife. Climate change, biodiversity loss in Australia. So some of these are focused on like global issues, but if you'd rather just look at Australia, you can do that one. Or you can do the 2020 Australian bushfires. So natural disasters are a type of environmental change. So that might be an interesting one, if you guys can remember all the way back to January when that was the biggest story of 2020. So the assignment itself, individual task, and you guys are going to be doing a bit of research and then recording that research in a Google Slides presentation. The CAT rubric outlines the different topics you need to cover, and I'll go through that in a moment. But really what you're creating is, it's not a presentation that you give to the class, because we don't have class. It's really just a little slideshow telling me, well, what is the problem? Why is it important? Where is it? How has it changed over time? So yeah, hopefully this will give you some idea of what the CAT looks like, what you need to work towards. So you start off with 1 or 2 slides telling me what is this environmental change, what is climate change, what is air pollution, what is biodiversity loss. So you can see we've done this CAT, this example one, on an invasive species. So these horses aren't native to Australia, they've come into the environment and they're messing up, they're changing some of the native Australian wildlife. So a couple slides on what is the problem, what is causing the problem. Then we move on to where is the problem located. So you'd give me one map, just one, and one PQE paragraph. So pattern, quantify, exception. What is the pattern of your environmental change in Australia, across the world? Is it increasing, decreasing? Is it increasing over here but not over here? Quantities, so give me some numbers, some examples. So as you can see, 20% of blah, 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 blah. And exception, so find an exception to your pattern. So tell me what the problem is, what's causing it, where is it? Now we're looking at when is it, I guess. So how it has changed over time. And to demonstrate that, one graph, one PQE. We've given you more than one, but you only need one, and I'll go through that in the rubric and the instructions. Once you've done that, you tell me why it's important. So you look at the consequences of your problem, of not fixing your problem, so the impact, not just on the environment, even though it is environmental change, but you give me one or two slides on the environment, and then one or two slides on how it's impacting humans. So how it's impacting us, I suppose. So you might talk about the financial impact of biodiversity loss, or you might talk about the impact to our health of air pollution, leading to like lung problems, lung cancer, asthma, etc. And then I'd like you to fix the problem. So a couple of solutions, a couple of management strategies to address your environmental change. And that's all I need, guys. So that's an example. And again, all these files are there for you to look at, to refer back to as you're going through the CAT in Compass and Google Classroom. So let's look at the instructions in a bit more detail. So you've got 4 key, I guess, subtopics, 4 like subheadings, subtitles for your slides. And you can see we've told you what it is, a bit of information about how to do it. And with each of these sections, we've given you like a recommended amount of slides that you'd want to spend on this. Just really trying to scaffold, to plan, to structure the way you do things. There's no word limit, but this should hopefully give you a guide of how much information do I need for each part. So part 1, again, as you saw in here, what is the environmental change? So what is the problem and what are the causes? So 2 or 3 slides. So you might spend one slide saying, here is climate change, one slide saying, here's what causes it. Subtopic 2, the location, so where, and then the scale, so how it's progressed over time, the when of your change. So illustrate where and how these changes have progressed over time. Again, 2 or 3 slides. So maybe one slide, you give me a map that shows where the problem is, and then a PQE. One slide, you give me a graph or a map or a chart that just shows how it's changed over time. Section 3, the impact, so the consequences, why it's a problem on living things. So 2 or 3 slides. Again, you might go one slide for how it's impacting the environment, so the wildlife, the plants. One slide, how it's impacting us old humans. So the economic impact, the impact to our health, stuff like that. And then finish strong, just like with the forest forest dev, sorry. How are you going to fix the problem? So environmental management. So some different management strategies that have been implemented to manage these changes. So I'm not asking you to solve the problem yourself. What are we currently doing to address climate change or to address air pollution? You will also need to include a bibliography, not a, I guess a formal bibliography. The rubric does say formal bibliography, but I'm going to be changing that because I think you guys need a break. I think you guys have done enough work, and this CAT will be enough to assess your understanding. I don't need to give you a formal bibliography. All you need to do is give me the actual sites, so just a resource list, so the sites that you've used in your CAT. So make sure as you're researching, you're recording what sites, what books, articles, textbooks, websites, whatever, that you're using, videos, in your bibliography. Submission details. So there will be 4 to 6 class lessons. So I'm introducing to you on Tuesday, and then you'll have until the end of next Tuesday. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. It is 6. At the end of your first research lesson, you will need to inform your teacher of the topic you are completing by completing the Google form in the Compass lesson plan. So there's a Google form survey in the Compass lesson plan that says student name, student ID, what topic you're doing, just so I know that you're on the right path and that you've not gone off and done an accidental topic like this is my CAT on whales or something. Use the class time provided to research and organize your information into the CAT subtopics. Ask lots of questions. Again, you've got 4 to 6 lessons. Please ask me questions as you're going, and then edit your assessment before the final submission. As you complete each section, remember to view the CAT rubric for guidance on the detail and what you need, the requirements for the presentation slides. It doesn't matter how good your assessment is, if you're not doing what the rubric's asking, then you won't get full marks. To support your research, a list of support resources has been provided on the next page. So I'm not just throwing you in the deep end of the pool, expecting you to swim. You can see I've got a couple of websites for each of those major topics, and that will help you get to your list of 4 sources of information. The final due date for your CAT, again, either to Compass or Google Classroom, is the 15th. So the final week, the final Tuesday of term 3 after our double period in periods 1 and 2. And yeah, I'll go through the rubric very quickly, but I'm not going to go through it in too much detail. I just want you guys to know that it exists. Really, I'll leave it as the final image, so you have to acknowledge that it does exist. You're getting assessed basically on, you can see I've numbered it. So section 1 is the section 2, section 3, etc., etc. So you're just getting assessed on those 4 subtopics. So the quality and the quantity of your information. So have you just given me a very brief description, or have you explained it in great detail and given me examples and evidence? Have you given me a single map, or have you described the map? Have you analyzed the map? That's how you move up to 3 marks, 6 marks, 9, 12, 14. I'm not a math teacher. 17 uses in total. Again, don't stress too much about the bibliography. If you put together a bibliography, wonderful. But I'm probably just going to give you a pass when it comes to bibliography, as long as you've included a list of resources. If you haven't, you're not going to get those marks, but you do need to include a list of resources, just not a formal bibliography, because I want to give you guys slightly less work. So that's what you're doing for your CAT, guys. You're working on a little Google slideshow on one of these topics about environmental change. You're addressing those 4 subtopics. So what is it? Where is it? When is it? Why is it a bad thing? How do I fix it? And yeah, you've got until the 15th. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. Remember to complete that Google form survey, letting me know what topic you are doing, just so I know that you're on the right path. If you have not sent me a submission there, I'll probably follow up just to make sure that you do know that the CAT exists, because I had a number of students who didn't complete the dev, which was frustrating, disappointing, because everyone who did the dev did well, really, majority of students. Anyway, that's all I've got to say, guys. Hope you're well. Almost at the end of the term, almost there. And yeah, cheers.